Yesterday, December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy.
Now is the winter of our discontent, made glorious summer by the sun of York, and all the clouds that lowered upon our house in the deep bosom of the ocean buried. Now are our brows bound with victorious wreaths, our bruised arms hung up with monuments, our stern alarms changed to merry meetings, our dreadful marches to delightful measures. Grim-visaged war hath smoothed his wrinkled front. And now, instead of mounting barbed steeds to fright the souls of fearful adversaries, he capers nimbly in a lady's chamber to the lascivious pleasing of a lute. But I, that am not shaped for sportive tricks, nor made to court an amorous-looking glass, I, that am rudely stamped, and want love's majesty to strut before a wanton ambling nymph. I, that am curtailed of this fair proportion, cheated of feature by dissembling nature, deformed, unfinished, sent before my time into this breathing world, scarce half made up, and that so lamely and unfashionable that dogs bark at me as I halt by them. Why, I, in this weak piping time of peace, have no delight to pass away the time, unless to spy my shadow in the sun and descant on mine own deformity. And therefore, since I cannot prove a lover to entertain these fair well-spoken days, I am determined to prove a villain and hate the idle pleasures of these days. Plots have I laid, inductions dangerous, by drunken prophecies, libels, and dreams have I set my brother Clarence and the king in deadly hate the one against the other. And if King Edward be as true and just as I am subtle, false, and treacherous, this day should Clarence closely be mewed up about a prophecy, which says that G of Edward's heirs the murderer shall be. Dive, thoughts, down to my soul. Here Clarence comes.
December, Edmund Spenser. O sovereign Pan, thou God of shepherds all, which of our tender lambkins takest keep, and when our flocks into mischance might fall, dost save us from mischief. The unweary sheep, alls of their masters hast no less regard than the flocks which thou dost watch and ward. I thee beseech, so be thou deign to hear rude ditties, tend to shepherds Odin read. Or if I sonnet songs so clear, as it with pleasurance might thou fancies feed, hearken a while from thy green cabinet the rural song of careful Colonette.
lord, I have remembrances of yours that I have longed to redeliver. I pray you now receive them.
No, not I. I never gave you aught.
My honored lord, you know right well you did. And with them words of so sweet breath composed as made the thing more rich, the perfume lost. Take these again, for to the noble mind which gives wax poor when givers prove unkind. There, my lord.
Ha ha! Are you honest? Are you fair?
What means your lordship?
That if you be honest and fair, your honesty should admit no discourse to your beauty.
Could beauty, my lord, have better commerce than with honesty?
Aye, truly, for the power of beauty will sooner transform honesty from what it is to a bowed than the force of honesty can translate beauty into his likeness. This was sometime a paradox, but now the time gives it proof. I did love you once.
Indeed, my lord, you made me believe so.
You should not have believed me, for virtue cannot so inoculate our old stock, but we shall relish of it. I loved you not.
I was the more deceived.
Get thee to a nunnery. Why wouldst thou be a breeder of sinners? I am myself indifferent, honest, but yet I could accuse me of such things that it were better my mother had not borne me. I am very proud, revengeful, ambitious, with more offenses at my beck than I have thoughts to put them in, imagination to give them shape, or time to act them in. What should such fellows as I do crawling beneath earth and heaven? We are errant knaves all. Believe none of us. Go thy ways to a nunnery. Where's your father?
At home, my lord.
Let the doors be shut upon him, that he may play the fool nowhere but in his own house. Farewell.
Help him, you sweet heavens!
Personnel are located throughout the station to assist you. Please
If
check with the ticket
thou
office
dost
for
marry, I'll give thee this plaque for thy dowry. Be thou as chaste as ice, as pure as snow. Thou shalt not escape calumny. Or, if thou wilt needs to marry, marry a fool. For wise men know well enough what monsters you make of them. To a nunnery go! And quickly too. Farewell.
Oh, heavenly powers, restore him!
I have heard of your paintings too well enough. God has given you one face, and you make yourselves another. You jig, you amble, you lisp, and you nickname God's creatures and make your wantonness your ignorance. Go to, I'll know more on it. To a nunnery go.
I want to range amid the mazy thicket, don't you? And gather nuts to make me Christmas game. Enjoyed off to chance the trembling pricket, or hunt the heartless hare till she were tame. What recked I of wintry age's waste, though deemed I my spring would ever laced? But such pride at length was ill repaid, for I was led, not as I wont afore, when choice I had to choose but my wandering way, whether luck and love's unbridled lore would lead me forth on fancy's bit to play. The bush my bed, the bramble my brow, the woods can witness my many a woeful store, where I wont to seek the honeybee, working her formal rooms in waxen frame, buzzing around. the grisly toadstool ground, where might I see and loathed paddocks lording on the same, and where the chaunting birds lulled me asleep. The ghastly owl and her grievous yawn doth keep. Winter.
Annunciation, John Donne. Salvation to all that will is nigh, that all which always is all everywhere, which cannot sin, and yet all sins must bear, which cannot die, yet cannot choose but die. Lo, faithful Virgin, yields himself to lie in prison in thy womb, and though he there can take no sin, nor thou give, yet he will wear, taken from thence, flesh, which death's force must try. Ere by the spheres time was created, thou wast in his mind, who is thy son and brother, whom thou conceivest conceived. Yet thou art now thy maker's maker, and thy father's mother. Thou hast light in the dark, and shuttest in a little room, immensity cloistered in thy dear womb.
Thomas Paine, December 23rd, 1776. These are the times that try men's souls. The summer soldier and the sunshine patriot will, in this crisis, shrink from the service of their country. But he that stands by it now deserves the love and thanks of man and woman. Tyranny, like hell, is not easily conquered. Yet we have this consolation with us, that the harder the conflict, the more glorious the triumph. What we obtain too cheap, we esteem too lightly. It is dearness only that gives everything its value. Heaven knows how to put a proper price upon its goods, and it would be strange indeed if so celestial an article as freedom should not be highly rated.
UFOs. Eileen Bauer. Until the day we know for sure, flying crafts will make us think outer space has beings who may seem to be a missing link. Unidentified is what the people who've had sightings claim. Many wackos hope abduction will bring them desire of fame. Still, it's something to consider. If such objects do appear, and their occupants surpass us, why would they be stopping here? Which is why UFOs, if they exist, would more than likely pass us by.
Emily Bronte to a wreath of snow. Methinks the hands that shut the sun so sternly from the morning's brow might still their rebel task have done and checked a thing so frail as thou. For many a week and many a day my heart was weighed with sinking gloom when morning rose in morning gray and faintly lit my prison room. Angel-like when I awoke, thy silvery form so soft and fair, shining through darkness, sweetly spoke of cloudy skies and mountain bare.
Edgar Allan Poe, The Raven. Once, upon a midnight dreary, while I pondered, weak and weary, over many a quaint and curious volume of forgotten lore, while I nodded, nearly napping, suddenly there came a tapping, as if someone gently rapping at my chamber door. "Oh, 'tis some visit," I muttered, tapping at my chamber door. "Only this and nothing more." I distinctly remember. It was in the bleak December, and each separate dying ember wrought its ghost upon the floor. Eagerly I wished the morrow. Vainly I had sought to borrow from my books surcease of sorrow. Sorrow for the lost Lenore, for the rare and radiant maiden whom the angels named Lenore, nameless here forevermore. Presently my soul grew stronger, hesitating then no longer. "Sir," said I, "or madam, truly your forgiveness I implore, but the fact is I was napping, and so gently you came rapping, and so faintly you came tapping at my chamber door that I scarce heard you." Here I opened wide the door. Darkness there, nothing more. Whew. Open here I flung the shutter, with many a flirt and flutter. In there stepped a stately raven, of the saintly days of yore, that not in the least obeisance made he, not a minute stopped or stayed he, but with mien of lord or lady perched upon my chamber door, perched upon a bust of Pallas just above my chamber door, perched and sat, and nothing more. Then methought the air grew denser, perfumed from an unseen censer, swung by seraphim whose footfalls tinkled at the tufted floor. Wretch, I cried, thy God has sent thee. By these angels he has sent thee. Respite, respite, nepenthe from thy memories of Lenore. Quaff, oh, quaff this kind nepenthe, and forget this lost Lenore. Quoth the raven, nevermore. Prophet, said I, thing of evil, prophet still, if bird or devil, who whether tempest sent or tempest tossed thee here ashore desolate, yet all undaunted on this desert land enchanted, on this home by horror haunted. Tell me truly, I implore, is there balm in Gilead? Tell me, please tell me, I implore. Quoth the raven, nevermore. Be that word our sign of parting, bird or fiend, I shrieked upstarting. Get thee back into the tempest and the night's Plutonian shore. Leave no black plume as a token of thy soul that has spoken. Leave my loneliness unbroken. Quit thy bust upon my door. Take thy beak from out my heart. Take thy form from off my door. Quoth the raven, nevermore.
Marianne Moore, silence. My father used to say, superior people never make long visits, have to be shown Longfellow's grave or the glass flowers at Harvard. Self-reliant like the cat that takes its prey to privacy. The mouse's limp tail hanging like a shoelace from its mouth. They sometimes enjoy solitude and can be robbed of speech by speech which has delighted them. The deepest feeling always shows itself in silence. Not in silence, but restraint. Nor was he insincere in saying, make my house your inn. Inns are not residences.
The Snow Fairy, Claude McKay. Throughout the afternoon, I watched them there. Snow fairies falling from the sky, whirling fantastic in the misty air, contending fierce for space supremacy. and they flew down a mightier force at night, as though in heaven there was revolt and riot. And they, frail things, had taken panic flight down to the calm earth, seeking peace and quiet. I went to bed and rose at early dawn to see them huddled together in a heap. Each emerged into the other upon the lawn, worn out by the sharp struggle, fast asleep. The sun shone brightly on them half the day. By night, they stealthily had stolen away. And suddenly, my thoughts turned to you, who came to me upon a winter's night, when snow sprites around my attic window did fly. Your hair disheveled, eyes aglow with light. My heart was like the weather when you came. The wanton winds were blowing loud and strong. But you, with joy and passion all aflame, you danced and sang a lilting summer song. I made room for you in my little bed, took covers from the closet, fresh and warm, a downfall pillow for your scented head, and lay down with you resting in my arm. You went with the dawn. You left me ere that day, a lonely actor of a dreamy play.
Puck had been making his Yuletide trip to the hospital, bringing gifts of enchanted dreams to the sufferers who were bedded down indefinitely in white sheets and in grave need of the release that a good dream can bring.
When I first saw her, I thought her to be the most beautiful mortal I had found this century. 17 was a most perfect age for this physical form. I was drawn to her grace, her expression, and countenance of kindness. She seemed good for the world and far too young to be dying. With half-opened eyes, she could watch the light shimmering through the tree branches outside of her window. As the curtain inhaled backwards and forward with the breeze, she could not see me watching her.
"What day is it?" she asked her nurse softly, who had cuffed her arm and pumped the pressure with an awkwardness that showed her nervousness with death. She was uncomfortable and fumbled with the pen upon the chart, whilst replying that it was Christmas, not even bothering to look up.
Caroline herself said nothing more. Her soul had other plans now, and was preparing to move on.
Puck remembered that day and how she fled from the world without complaint or expectation. Gabriel Brunson, Puck in Hell, Auslander series.
What art so near? If thou is seen a thing to talk on when thou art dead and rotten, come hither. What art thou,
Oh,
man?
golly gee, Paul, I have seen two such sights. One by sea, one by land. But I am not to say it is a sea, for it is now the sky. Betwixt the firmament and it, you cannot thrust a bodkin's point.
Why, boy, how is it?
I would you did but see how it chafes, how it rages, how it takes up the shore. But that's not to the point. Oh, the most piteous cry of the poor souls, sometimes to see him and not to see him. Now the ship boring the moon with her main mast, and anon swallowed with yeast and froth as you'd thrust a cork into a hogshead. And then, for the land service, to see how the bear tore out his shoulder bone, how he cried to me for help, and he said his name was Antigonus, a nobleman. But to make an end of the ship, to see how the sea flap dragoned it. But first how the poor souls roared, and the sea mocked them, and how the poor gentleman roared, and the bear mocked him, both roaring louder than the sea all the weather.
Name of mercy! When was this, boy?
Now, I'm not winged since I saw these sights. The men are not yet cold under water, nor the bear half dined on the gentleman. He's at it now!
Would I had been to have helped the old man.
I would have you been by the ship's side to have helped her. There your charity would have lacked footing.
I left no ring with her. What means this lady? Fortune forbid my outside have not charmed her. She has made good view of me, indeed. So much that sure me thought her eyes had lost her tongue, for she did speak and starts distractedly. She loves me sure, the cunning of her passion, invites me in this churlish messenger. None of my lord's ring. Why, he sent her none. I am the man, if it be so, as 'tis, poor lady, she were better love a dream. Disguise, I see, thou art a wickedness, wherein the pregnant enemy does much. How easy is it for the proper false in women's waxen hearts to set their forms. Alas, our frailty is the cause, not we. For such as we are made of, such we be. How will this fadge? My master loves her dearly, and I, poor monster, fond as much on him. And she, mistaken, seems to dote on me. As I am a man, my state is desperate for my master's love, as I am woman. Now, alas the day! What thriftless sighs shall poor Olivia breathe? O time, thou must untangle this, not I. It is too hard a knot for me to untie.
Heavy matters. But look here, thou boy. Now bless thyself. Thou had been met with things dying. I wish things newborn. Oh, here's a sight for thee. Look thee, a bearing cloth for a squire's child. Now look thee. Take up. Take up, boy. Open it. Let's see it, because I was told that I should be rich by the fairies. Open it. What's within, boy?
You're a made old man if the sins of your youth are forgiven you. Gold. All gold.
Ah, this is fairy gold, boy. And 'twill prove so.
You don't say.
Up with it. Keep it close. Home. Home. The next way. We are lucky, boy. And to be so still requires nothing but secrecy. Let my sheep go. Come, good boy. The next way. Home.
Hath not a Jew's eyes? Hath not a Jew's hands, organs, dimensions, senses, affections, passions? Fed with the same food, hurt with the same weapons, subject to the same diseases, healed by the same means, warmed and cooled by the same winter and summer, as a Christian is? If you prick us, do we not bleed? If you tickle us, do we not laugh? If you poison us, do we not die? And if you wrong us, shall we not revenge? If we were like you and the rest, we will resemble you in that. If a Jew wrong a Christian, what is his humility? Revenge. If a Christian wrong a Jew, what should his sufferance be by Christian example? Why? Revenge. The villainy you teach me, I will execute, and it shall go hard. But I will better the instruction.
And the raven, never flitting, still is sitting on the pallid bust of Pallas just upon my chamber door. And his eyes have all the seeming of a demon that's dreaming. And the lamplight o'er him, streaming, throws his shadow on the floor. And my soul from out that shadow that lies floating on the floor, shall be lifted. Nevermore.
Dead, James Joyce. A few light taps upon the pane made him turn to the window. It had begun to snow again. He watched sleepily the flakes, silver and dark, falling obliquely against the lamplight. The time had come for him to set out on his journey westward. Yes, the newspapers were right. Snow was general all over Ireland. It was falling on every part of the dark central plain. On the treeless hills, falling softly upon the bog of Allen, and farther westward, softly falling onto the dark, mutinous Shannon waves. It was falling, too, upon every part of the lonely churchyard on the hill where Michael Furry lay buried. It lay thickly drifted on the crooked crosses and headstones, on the spears of the little gate, on the barren thorns. His soul swooned slowly as he heard the snow falling faintly through the universe and faintly falling, like the descent of their last end, upon all the living and the dead.
Alas, poor Yorick. I knew him, Horatio. A fellow of infinite jest, of most excellent fancy. He hath borne me on his back 1,000 times, and now, how abhorred in my imagination it is! My gorge rises at it! Here hung those lips that I have kissed I know not how oft. Where be your jibes now? Your gambols, your songs, your flashes of merriment that were wont to set the table on a roar. Not one now to mock your own grinning. White chap. On. Now get you to my lady's chamber and tell her, let her paint an inch thick. To this favor she must come. Make her laugh at that.
Aye, aye, sir.
I have as little superstition in me as any man living, but my secret opinion has ever been, and still is, that God Almighty will not give up a people to military destruction, who have so earnestly and so repeatedly sought to avoid the calamities of war by every decent method which wisdom could invent. Neither have I so much of the infidel in me as to suppose that he has relinquished the government of the world and given us up to the care of devils. I thank God that I fear not. I see no real cause for fear. I know our situation well and can see the way out of it. Thomas Paine, December 23rd, 1776.
Nativity, John Donne, immensity cloistered in thy womb, now leaves his well-beloved imprisonment. There he hath made himself to his intent, weak enough now into the world to come. But oh, for thee, for him, hath thee in no room? Yet lay him in this stall, and from the Orient stars and wise men will travel to prevent the effects of Herod's jealous general doom. Seest thou, my soul, with thy faith's eye, how he which fills all place, yet none holds him, doth lie? Was not his pity toward thee wondrous high, that would have need to be pitied by thee? Kiss him, and with him into Egypt go, with this kind mother, and partakes thy woe.
Now leave, ye shepherds' boys, your merry glee. My muse is hoarse and weary of thy sound. Here will I hang my pipe upon this tree. Was never pipe of reed did better sound. Winter is come, that blows the bitter blast, and after winter dreary death does hast. Gather ye together, my little flock. My little flock, oh, that was so to me, so to life. Let me in your folds. Ye luck, ye brim, winter breeds you a greater grief. Winter is come, that bows the baleful breath, and after winter cometh timely death. Adieu, the lights that lured me asleep. Adieu, my dear, whose love I bear so dear. Adieu, my little lambs and loved sheep. Oh, so cute. Adieu, ye woods that oft my witnesses were. Adieu, good Hobbinol that was so true. Tell Rosalind her Colin bids her adieu. Edmund Spenser, December.